Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand as Facundo Pellistri leaves Manchester United on a permanent transfer, and we wish him the best of luck. Is it the right decision? Should Manchester United have kept him? What do we think about the fee that we're going to get for him? We're going to talk about it now, but it is a leaving video for Facundo Pellistri, who is leaving Manchester United, and let's be honest, that transfer has not been a success. He came in with so much promise. We bought him under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We bought him and Amad Diallo because we missed out on Jadon Sancho that year. So we panic bought two wingers that we thought were going to progress and be the potential right winger for Manchester United. Amad obviously is much further ahead than Pellistri in terms of game time, in terms of, in my opinion, talent. But Pellistri is still a good player and he just never got going at Manchester United, and I don't think it helped by the fact that Erik ten Hag never really liked the player. But he does have a lot to offer. He was a fan favourite. I know a lot of people in the United Stand community really liked him and wanted to see him get a chance. Ricky is absolutely gutted. He's sending me a voice note as we speak. I asked him what his opinion was on Pellistri leaving. He's gutted about it, his sort of player. But was it the right move for Pellistri? To be honest with you, I think it was, considering he was never going to be a big player in Erik ten Hag's plans. He's a young player that still has a lot of potential, a lot of development to do, and deserves to be playing regular minutes. But the fee and the total package, we're going to get into that as it's coming out now from Fabrizio Romano. But everyone, get in the comments as well. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's the right move? What do you think of the fee? How do you feel about it? Let me know what your thoughts are, because I will be interested to see. I've seen some people online saying, I don't get why he was so highly rated. I've seen some people online absolutely gutted. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. So Pellistri is going from Manchester United. It's a permanent deal away from Manchester United. It's a €6 million fee, a fixed fee for Pellistri. I mean, that fee, in my opinion, is laughable, but it's better than nothing. €2 million in add-ons. I wonder what them add-ons could be. I would love to know the details of that, but we've got no more details as of now. But this is where it gets really, really interesting on Pellistri, and this is something we hadn't heard about until, well, I hadn't heard about until now, as Fabrizio Romano has officially revealed the details of the deal. There is a buyback option available until 2027, and there is a 45% sell-on clause for Manchester United. Buyback option for Facundo Pellistri. So if he does go and rip apart the Greek league, as he's going over to Greece with a manager that really rates him and has rated his time at the Uruguayan national team, if he does go over and rip it up, Manchester United do have a buyback option in there until 2027. But the question is, how long is the buyback? How much is the buyback option? We know it's valid until 2027. We know how long it's valid for, but how much would the fee be? I suspect it's not going to be massively high. So if we did want to buy back Facundo Pellistri, the option is there. And the 45% sell-on clause for Manchester United, it's decent because, again, if he ends up going from that team and he ends up leaving the Greek league and a club comes in for him, a big club that's willing to pay a decent amount of money for him, if that does happen, which could not be massively off the table considering, he's only young. I do think he has ability and I do think he's got a lot of potential. Manchester United would get a 45% sell-on clause on that. So we could reap some money back from that. And I keep seeing, Liverpool are making money now off players I've never even heard of because they're getting sold, because they've added sell-on clause into the players that they've sold. Manchester City do it all the time. They have sell-on clauses, so they get money back from that deal. Top clubs include sell-on clauses into their deals, and that's how you end up making decent amounts of money off the players that you're letting go, especially players that are from the youth team or players that haven't quite made it into the first team on a regular basis, like Facundo Pellistri. You can sell them off for a cheap price, and then if they go again, you make money back because you have them sell-on clauses included. So I think that's super important for Manchester United, and that is something new that we've seen under Ineos as well. The players that we are selling, the young players, we're including these clauses, we're including sell-on clauses into them, we're including buyback options, so we have ourselves covered. We're covered on all bases, and I think that's a really important thing that Manchester United need to start doing, and we have employed under this new ownership and under this new structure, that we actually are covering ourselves. So if our players do go on to do well and have a successful career, we can gain some money back from that, and we can basically have investments into these players. I mean, we're probably going to do it with Hannibal when we sell Hannibal. I know that we've done it with a lot of the players that we've sold in terms of that were verging onto the first team, that weren't quite making it into the first team, that we've sold from the youth setup. It's really important that we do this because it's something that we've missed out on in the past. We've got it in Alvaro Fernandez, I know that. One thing I will say is I'm not gutted because, I don't think Pellistri's a world beater. I just thought he was a good player that probably deserved some more game time. But what I liked about him is he had passion. I mean, who knows, he might have a right-back career, Community Shield, comes on, he does a job, got his head down, worked hard, always looked like he was going to create something, was a creative winger, which, you know, a lot of our wingers are very direct, love to cut in and shoot. Pellistri's different. You know, he's a creative winger that's going to put the ball across the box, that he's going to get to the byline and create chances. I still remember how involved he was in that last-minute winner against Fulham last season, where Bruno Fernandes obviously got that winner in like the last minute, and Pellistri came on and he just looked super exciting. So I did think there was a player to explore there, but if he's not going to get the game time under Erik ten Hag, then it is best that he leaves. I do think the fee is mad. Like, you see Oliver Skipp going to Leicester for 25 million. I keep bringing it up because I still can't get over it. I mean, you see Brozier going to Ipswich for 30 million. I mean, I know that Pellistri didn't get that many chances in a United shirt and he didn't play that many minutes in the Premier League. But he's a Uruguayan international that starts regularly under Marcelo Bielsa, and he's a good young player with a lot of potential. He's had 2 loan moves at United. I mean, they didn't go amazingly, but they were decent loan spells. You would have thought you could get... I'm not asking, you know, for 30 million for Pellistri. I thought we could have at least got 10, maybe even 15 million euros for him. 6 million euros is crazy, honestly. It is crazy. So I do think Manchester United needs to do better at getting better fees for these players. I mean, I'm seeing Chelsea youth products go for... I mean, they've never even kicked a ball for Manchester... Sorry, I'm seeing Man City youth products that have never even kicked a ball for Man City going for more money than this, a lot more money than this. So I think Manchester United needs to work on getting better fees, but altogether, I cannot go against what we've done in terms of the buyback clauses and in terms of selling clauses, because that's something that we've needed to do for a while. Gavin Friend said Sancho is worse than Pellistri. That's not true. That's not true. I think Sancho has got more talent than Pellistri. That's just my opinion, but I think Pellistri is something that's exciting. He never really got a chance, so it's hard to really say. Snazzy Studios says, goodbye, don't need him. If he ever comes good, we have that buyback clause. By the way, Nice have some talent coming through, would keep an eye on them. Thank you very much for the super chat. Definitely something to keep an eye on, because obviously Nice is a club that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have their finger in that pie as well. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about potentially bringing youth players through Nice that could potentially then go on to Manchester United like a feeder club. So it is something to keep an eye on. But yeah, Pellistri, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to cry about it. But I do think it's a talent that we didn't explore to its maximum, I would say, on that. Ladios says at least Pellistri doesn't delete all his Man United photos on Instagram, unlike Sancho. I do think it's strange that Sancho still has all his Dortmund pictures on and has none of United. I do think it's odd, but maybe it's because he doesn't want to reset his whole social media, because he's probably going to be leaving Manchester United again this summer. But then again, it doesn't look like he's going to be leaving. It's a weird situation with Jadon Sancho, honestly. I mean, you look at the pecking order that Pellistri is in. You have... This is what I think Erik ten Hag's pecking order is, by the way. This is what I think Erik ten Hag's pecking order is in terms of wingers. This isn't mine, but I think this is what Erik ten Hag's was. So I think Erik ten Hag's is Rashford, Garnacho, both at the top, then Ahmad at the moment, then Anthony, then Sancho, then Pellistri. I mean, maybe Pellistri over Sancho, to be fair. Maybe, because we know Erik ten Hag and Sancho's passed. But he was right at the bottom of the pile. And if a player wants to play regular minutes and he's not going to go on to be a first teamer for Manchester United after having 2 loans, you do have to let them go. And remember, Pellistri's agent, has had a few pops at Erik ten Hag in the media in the past. I mean, I think he said Pellistri needs more game time. He's going to leave if he can't get more game time. So this is what we've come to. Honestly, the one thing I would say is, this Greek team have come in for him and are willing to pay 6 million euros. there's not really been much interest, which you would have thought there would be, considering he plays on an international level for Uruguay. You would have thought, you know, more clubs would have come for him. I know Bologna were interested. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought because that microwave sounds really doing my head in. That microwave. There's a microwave in the back of the office and it just keeps like beeping and going off at me. You know what it's like when you're trying to talk and like your phone won't stop ringing. It's like just keeps trying to interrupt you. You can't hear it because we've got really good software with this mic, but this microwave just keeps going beep, beep, beep while I'm trying to have a conversation with you. So it's annoying me a little bit, but we'll get on track, and I think it's getting fixed now. Someone's heard me in the back room complaining about it, and it's getting fixed now. But yeah, for example, I thought there would be more clubs interested in Pellistri, but there's not. Ricky said he was going to send me his opinion to read out, so let me have a look what he said. I mean, you guys, I'll take my mic off and see if you can hear what Ricky said, actually. I'll take my mic off and put it up to my laptop and see what he can say. 1 second, let me just pause this, because I wanted to get Ricky's thoughts on it. I think it'd be fun to bring it in. So let's see if this works. I'll turn it up. He sent me a 2-minute long voice note. I'm going to read it out.
I'm absolutely gutted that Pellistri's been sold, and particularly for such a low fee. It's also very interesting that it's Panathinaikos. I take it is Panathinaikos. I read that this morning. Why aren't any of the bigger clubs in for him? Bielsa for Uruguay picks him all the time on the right wing. They've beaten a strong, not a weakened team. They've beaten a strong Brazil team and a strong Argentina team in World Cup qualifiers recently, or in the last 12 months, with Pellistri playing virtually a full game. He only goes off with 2 or 3 minutes to go when the game's put to bed. What I like about him mainly is his work rate and the way he stays in shape, in team shape. And I said after the game on Friday that I felt we got stretched after Garnacho and Xerxes came on. I'm not knocking them for it. You know, they're attacking players. But when you're playing in a team that's really got a good shape about them and they're concentrating on staying in the game, confident that they can get a goal at some time as well, you need players who keep that team shape and don't get detached from the rest of the team and don't leave a big gap between yourself and whoever the next player is. Pellistri's fantastic at it. I wasn't surprised, and I know he could have done a little bit better on the goal that City scored, but he's not a full-back. As much as his defensive work is great as a winger, he's not a full-back, and I wasn't surprised to see him get half an hour as a full-back in the Community Shield the other week. I doubt very much that we'll ever see Garnacho get half an hour as a full-back, obviously. One other thing, he's a much better right winger than Anthony. He's much better. I'm assuming United, whatever they give, 80-odd million for Anthony, it'd be a bit embarrassing, I think, if they tried to sell him and ended up taking 10 million for him. But how much, 5 million quid for Pellistri, is it really worth it to him even selling him? I don't get it.
So that was Ricky's thoughts. I'm going to put my mic back on now while I just sort of analysis on it. One thing I would say is, I mean, I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Do you guys think Pellistri is a better winger than Anthony? I wouldn't go that far. I won't go that far. Anthony had a really poor season last season. He did. But in his first season, he showed glimpses of potential, and Anthony's actually already done it at Ajax and looked like a very good player. You know, Anthony scored some important goals for us. I mean, he scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup last season, which was a really important goal. I mean, he scored against Barcelona. We all remember that in the Europa League. A winning goal, I think it was. Was it a winning goal? I think it was a winning goal at home at Old Trafford. It was an absolute cricket score, but he did score against Man City. He scored against Arsenal. He scored in some big games, Anthony, so I wouldn't go that far. I mean, people want a poll on it. Let's put a poll on it. Is Pellistri a better right winger than Anthony? I wouldn't go that far. But then again, Anthony's had the game time, whereas Pellistri never got the game time. He didn't, did he? So you couldn't really see him fully. In the glimpses that Pellistri got, he looked good. But to say he's a better winger than Anthony, I think is a little bit far, because Anthony, he had a super poor season. I'm not trying to dispute that. And for me, at the moment, he shouldn't be starting. You know, Rashford's better than him, Garnacho's better than him, Ahmad's better than him. I'm 100% behind that. And we did pay too much money for him. But to say that Pellistri is a better winger than Anthony, I think that is a bit rash. I think a lot of people are going in on Anthony at the moment because, he's not performed for a while, but he has scored from some important goals for us. And for me personally, I would I would say Anthony is a bit better just because of what I've seen of him. He's done more, in my opinion. But let me know in the comments what you think. I think, sometimes people love to get on this train, and Anthony has been poor, but then people can go really extreme with it. It's like people are doing it with Mason Mount, and Mason Mount, you watch back the game at the weekend, he had a perfectly good game. He was really important to our press, really important in little movements that we did. His late runs into the box were excellent, but because he's not gone and scored a screamer, or he's not played much last season, people are like, Mason Mount this, Mason Mount that, because it's like people get on the bandwagon of things. Do not get me wrong, Anthony was not good last season, and it's right that he's on the bench. But I think people go a bit extreme with it. And if you're talking about what they've done in the United shirt, Anthony has provided more, but he has been given more opportunity. The thing is with me, I saw her chatting before, that's true. And someone said they always thought it was between Ahmad and Pellistri vying out for that right wing spot. And if you ask me now, who's better, Ahmad or Pellistri? Ahmad, for me, is levels above. I do think Pellistri's a good winger, though, and I always backed him to get more minutes. But Ahmad, for me, is the player that we should be investing our time into, and has, I think, more potential to reach the top level at Manchester United to become a regular starter. And Erik ten Hag prefers him. It's weird. It's like Erik ten Hag, he's always preferred left footers on the right wing. Ahmad, obviously, left foot. You've got Anthony, left foot. Ziyech, left foot. He's always loved a left-footed winger on the right. A left-footed right winger, but then he keeps putting Garnacho on the right, who's right-footed. So it's interesting with that one with Erik ten Hag. But yeah, let's see what you guys say in the poll. Is Pellistri a better right winger than Anthony? I think I know what the result of the poll would be, but I don't know if it'll be a fair result. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Is Pellistri a better right winger than Anthony? Get your thoughts in. Gonna have a look if there's any more details on this, such as what would the fee be for a buyback clause, and what I would say as well is over the years, United fans have got really upset when we've sold, young players that are on the verge of the first team that haven't managed to make it. Loads of people were upset when we sold Zidane Iqbal. Charlie Savage, a lot of people were upset about. James Garner, people were upset about. Other players, Alvaro Fernandez, has been upset about. There's been multiple players that we've been upset that we've left. Has anyone actually really gone on to absolutely kill it? Angel Gomez has done really well, to be fair. And James Garner did do well. But no one's gone on to absolutely be a world beater, have they? So sometimes, you've got to maybe try and trust the management that are there day in, day out and watching these players, and the staff that are there watching these players. But I do always think that Erik ten Hag was quite harsh in his treatment with Pellistri. A lot of people thought he was harsh in his treatment of Ahmad. He now seems to be getting the opportunity. Whether he starts on Saturday will be another question. I think he should. Whether Ten Hag will do it, let's see. But Ahmad had to fight tooth and nail to get into that spot. Whether it was always the plan, I don't know, but it feels like he's had to fight tooth and nail to get into that spot and just, come on and be brilliant, which he has done. I mean, he took his chance in the FA Cup, taking his chance in pre-season, but a lot of the times people get really upset about these players leaving for small fees, and then they never really go on to do anything absolutely massive anyway. So let's see with Pellistri. The good news is we've got that sell-on clause, which is super important, and we've got the buyback clause as well, which I feel like, if he does go on to rip it up, and he probably will, in the Greek league, you'd like to think he can do a bit in that league, then we have the option to bring him back. But if I was to bet off if we'd bring Pellistri back to Manchester United, I think it would be a no, but let's see. Kovar, Paul Pogba. Yeah, Pogba was a massive one. Pogba, though, United didn't want to sell him. Pogba really wanted to go to get more game time. United weren't like desperate to sell Pogba. He wanted to go and get more game time, and Ferguson was like, if you don't want to play for Man United, there's the door. That's how it was back then. So, Pogba is a little bit of a different one. Kovar's done well as well, to be fair. Martin says bought for 6 million, will probably be sold for 30, and if he does, then we get a 45% sell-on clause on that. Is Pellistri a better right winger than Anthony? Punch Paint says Elanga tore it up at Forest. Elanga's done really well at Forest, but and I like Elanga, and I think he's got a good work ethic, and I think he's a decent player. But he's torn it up at Forest. That's his level. That's what I'm saying. I still don't think Elanga is a United quality right winger. I mean, does anyone here think Elanga is a United quality right winger? No one's coming knocking on Forest doors this summer desperate to go and get Elanga in from a top club. He's quality, but he's quality for Forest. That's the level that he's at. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of trying to say here. No one's gone on to, you know, absolutely tear it up at like a club that's consistently playing at the top level, have they? Really? Is Pellistri a better right winger than Anthony? Let's see what the poll is. 68% say yes. Again, I disagree. I think that's a little bit of a, you know, that's kind of a poll that's being voted on in the current moment. I think opinions will change. I hope they change because we're keeping Anthony, and I hope he does well because he's a United player. But let's see on that. BH Farm says Anthony's too predictable. Even a blind man knows where he's going to go. That's something he needs to work on massively with his right foot. But is Anthony even going to get much chance this season? Because, you know, you look at it and you've got Garnacho, Rashford and Ahmad now. I mean, unless there's an injury, you don't see Anthony really getting on the pitch, do you? Like, let's be honest. Kevin Shields says, impressed me every time he played. Seemed to make things happen / have an impact. Wish him well. Hope that we have negotiated good selling clauses. Kevin, I agree. He impressed me every time he played as well. And I was always saying on the United stand for him to get more game time. But he just never ended up developing. Sometimes you've got to cut your losses. Mr. Cheater says, on what base should we get more, Beth? Don't agree. I think we should get more money based on what other players are going for at other clubs and based on the fact he's a Uruguayan international who's done really well for them in some tough competitions, you know, Copa America, the World Cup. He's done really well for them as a Uruguayan international. I think we should get more than 6 million personally. Well, let's see. Andrew Belfit says, if Man City had sold Pellistri, they would have gotten £30 million. But anyway, guys, just wanted to quickly go live to kind of wish Pellistri well. He's leaving Manchester United, wish him all the best for the rest of his career and give you an update on exactly what the fee are. So just to go over it one more time in case you weren't here at the start. €6 million fixed fee for Facundo Pellistri on a permanent deal, €2 million in add-ons, buyback option available for Pellistri until 2027, 45% sell-on clause for Manchester United for future sales. That is the deal. How do you rate that out of 10? Get down in the comments. Let me know all of your thoughts. Who are Manchester United going to sell next? Where should we go next in terms of sales at the club? Rate this deal out of 10 for Facundo Pellistri, 6 million fee fixed and all the add-ons included. Let me know what you think. See you on the next one. If there's any breaking news, we'll be live. But have a good one, everybody.